Hey there, my creative friends. Come on in and pull up a chair. It's cold and rainy here today, but I've got my tea, and today's prompt is already whispering some ideas. Today's Advent tea is an anise cookie black tea, and I will tell you this tastes like drinking a shortbread cookie. It is so tasty. So let's light our candle. And take a look at what our affirmation is today. Today's affirmation: the more I give, the more inspiration returns to me. I love these images. It is got that creepy but very vintage and delicate look to them. So I made my cluster, and then I did my affirmation in the center, and then I just put around the affirmation some coffee stained lace that I had, and I just tore that so it would look distressed and fit well with the images overall. And then I put the little Ouija board on the back. Something I have started doing is I did start dating my cards. They're not super obvious as to where I'm putting them, but it will help me keep up with them if they get out of order, or if I want to just look back quickly and see what day these cards were from. So I have started doing that. I also wanted to briefly show you the cards that I have made off camera where I missed the week. So I'm going to just run through these really quick. This one is day 24. And here I just made my collage from the images. I took some texture paste and tinted the texture paste with some of the aged mahogany ink and did some extra distressing with the texture paste here. And then for day 25, I'm going to slide these over here really quick out of the way. For day 25, this was like a little sock hop themed kit. I made a little cluster here with some stamps, carried my music over here, made a pocket with one of the pages, added some embroidered lace down at the bottom, and my affirmation. And then inside this pocket, I created a little booklet out of some of the pages and just glued those pages back to back to create that little booklet. That's a little no-sew way of putting a journal together. If you'd like to see how I did that in more detail, drop me a comment down and I'll try to, and if y'all want to see that, I might do a little video on how to do those little no-sew journals. And then I've got my date on the back. Then for day 26, this little witchy kit was an envelope booklet. I did the little witch here on the side, and then my affirmation. And then over here with the envelopes, I shrunk those down again 4 to a page and cut those out, and I made a little waterfall here. I used a little piece of ribbon trim that I've got tucked right underneath that. And then my little envelopes just flip up to make my waterfall. And then that will slide right back in. It's a little fiddly, but it does go back. There we go. And that just goes right back in there. And then on the back, I love these images so much, I wanted to just create a little cluster here with the rest of the images. These were the cards that went inside those envelopes. And for day 27, my rhinestone cowgirl. This reminds me of my trip to Dollywood that we did for my daughter's bachelorette party. And so I have done the 2 little pockets here. I took a library card and made my cluster here and a butterfly. And the reason I did that is Dolly is known for having butterflies and the imagination library that she does. And so those are things that made me think about the rhinestone cowgirl aspect of this card. And so I wanted to add those. And then my little tags. And then I just added a couple pieces of ephemera from my stash in that other pocket. And then I used some stickles. I think it was Stardust stickles on this little disco ball. And that's day 27. Day 28 is a beautiful little kit that I got to use one of my favorite inks, Victorian Velvet. I love that color. And I just let these images work and do all the heavy lifting here. I backed it with one of the papers from the kit. I tore out my affirmation here, inked that up with the Victorian velvet, and then layered some of the flowers and florals here and did a little bit of fussy cutting out there. I added some Nuvo drops for some dimension, and then that's the backing paper. So that's day 28. Day 29, again, I let the images kind of do the heavy lifting. I love the music paper here, so I used that, and then I took a music stamp that I had and stamped this and embossed it in gold. I added my little ribbon trim over here, and then I did the rest of the music paper on the back. That's day 29, and the last card, and then I was all caught up, is day 30. Here I did some more of that gold embossing around the edge of the card. I added some glue around my sentiment and added some rock candy glitter around that and down at the bottom, and then this pulls out and it gives you the image there, and then this tag pulls out here and gives you the little snowman. That fits right back in. And that goes back in there. And then on the back, I just did some more of the embossing and added a little bit of washi tape there. And so that's day 30, and that caught me up on all of my affirmation cards. So let's take a look at what day 34's freebie will be. So now it's time to open my Advent chocolate. So let's take a look at what this is today. I'm going to turn this way just a little bit so I don't hit my tea. And again, I film these a day ahead. So I'm technically on December 2nd, but you will be seeing this December 3rd. So let's see what my chocolate is today. I started this last year when I was doing a little Advent unboxing of some crafty things and creating, and I wanted to continue that. If you happen to catch that last year, you might know that one day last year my husband decided to get in my Advent chocolates and stole one of my chocolates and left me some nuts and bolts in place of my chocolate. So you will be happy to know I bought him his own Advent calendar this year, so hopefully he will leave mine alone. So let's take a look at what we have. I think today is the Rondello, which is a milk chocolate with a creamy milk chocolate ganache, and that sounds wonderful. On this cold and rainy day, I'm gonna sit back and enjoy my tea and my chocolate. So well, my friends, that wraps up another calm crafting session together. Thanks for being here, and I'll see y'all back here again in the attic tomorrow. So until then, y'all take care.